This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Yesterday was the first full day of the House impeachment inquiry hearings, looking into Donald Trump's bribery/extortion scheme related to the dangling of almost $500 million worth of military aid to Ukraine in exchange for an assurance that they would interfere in our upcoming 2020 elections. The hearing was really a tale of two parties. On one hand, we watched the Democrats who methodically, professionally, and respectfully questioned the two witnesses in a clear attempt at fact-finding. There were almost no instances of doing that which congressmen and women are famous for in high-profile hearings, grandstanding and making little speeches, rather than asking substantive questions geared at getting to the truth. Democrats, to their credit, were the adults in the room. On the other hand, we had the Republican experts in dipshittery, Jim Jordan, Devin Nunes, John Ratcliffe, and even Elise Stefanik. Dullards, each and every one. They performed in the exact opposite manner than the Democrats. They played to the cameras, knowing that Donald Trump was watching, acting like obsequious, servile mutts in an effort to please an audience of one, their master and cult leader. They cried about process, they whined about witnesses, they did anything and everything they could, not to defend the actions of Donald Trump, but to try to create a diversion for the public to pay attention to try to distract attention away from Donald Trump's impeachable crimes and onto their own manufactured conspiracies and lies and nonsense. But all of the interference and obstruction and distraction in the world couldn't take away from the bombshell revelation we learned about yesterday. You see, for weeks now, Republicans have been trying to remove Donald Trump from the equation related to all of this greasy, grimy nastiness. Even though we have a transcript summary of a phone call in which wannabe mob boss Donald Trump literally says, "I would like you to do us a favor, though." And even though we have his chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, on camera saying that they do this all the time and that we should just all get over it.
Get over it.
And even though we have had almost 3 years of watching Donald Trump create for the world a despicable pattern of unpresidential behavior and actions, even though all of that, they still would like us to naively believe that Donald Trump isn't involved. Well, that notion was swiftly dashed when Ambassador Bill Taylor recalled that the day after the "I'd like you to do us a favor, though" call, a staffer of Taylor was having dinner at a restaurant with, among other people, Ambassador Gordon Sondland. And Sondland was talking loudly on his cell phone, he seems like the type of guy to do that, with Donald Trump. And his phone was so loud that others in attendance at the dinner could hear Donald Trump's end of the conversation. They heard Donald Trump on the phone asking about the investigations. So their attempts to distance Donald Trump from all of this are donezo. Here is Bill Taylor in his own words.
Last Friday, a member of my staff told me of events that occurred on July 26th. While Ambassador Volker and I visited the front, this member of my staff accompanied Ambassador Sondland. Ambassador Sondland met with Mr. Yermak. Following that meeting, in the presence of my staff, at a restaurant, Ambassador Sondland called President Trump and told him of his meetings in Kyiv. The member of my staff could hear President Trump on the phone asking Ambassador Sondland about the investigations. Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward. Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for. At the time I gave my deposition on October 22nd, I was not aware of this information. I'm including it here for completeness. As the committee knows, I reported this information through counsel to the State Department's legal advisor, as well as to counsel for both the majority and the minority of this committee. It is my understanding that the committee is following up on this matter.
Who is shocked to learn that Donald Trump is more interested in himself and in his own political well-being than with an existential crisis in an ally nation. Ugh. Also, this leads us to needing to hear from yet another witness. Adam Schiff and the House Intel Committee had better be now preparing a subpoena for that State Department staffer so we can hear about this firsthand. Which reminds me another stupid distraction tactic of the Republicans, and that is to ceaselessly rant and rave about everything being third and fourth-hand information and sniveling about hearsay. Republicans don't care about getting first-hand accounts in these matters, though. I know this because it is due directly to several Republicans' refusal to comply with legally issued subpoenas that we're in this situation. I will go through this very incomplete list, quickly. These are the Trump administration officials with first-hand knowledge of the facts that are being sought, all of whom have up to this point decided not to cooperate with the legal process outlined by the Constitution of the United States. Robert Blair, Brian McCormick, John Eisenberg, Michael Ellis, Wells Griffith, Michael Duffy, Russell Vought, T. Ulrich Breckbuhl, Mick Mulvaney, Rick Perry, John Bolton, and the shiny gargoyle himself, Rudy Giuliani. So Republicans can cram it right up their cram shaft. If we lack first-hand accounts, it's because of them. Which leads me to another mantra they kept repeating, that it doesn't matter that military aid was upheld because Ukraine ended up with it anyway, which is absurd. As though all of this happens in a vacuum, they believe. They completely ignore the facts of the timeline. Donald Trump had the famous "I'd like you to do us a favor, though" call with President Zelensky, and then placed the almost $400 million on hold until an announcement of an investigation into the Bidens was made publicly. And the Ukrainians were actually getting ready to succumb to Donald Trump's pressure and make a statement to that effect on CNN, when on September 9th, the White House found out about a whistleblower complaint and immediately released the aid. Not suspicious at all, right? Yeah, right. Here is Adam Schiff explaining it.
Now, I would point out, and this may not have come to your attention, but it certainly came to our attention. On September 9th, the Inspector General informed our committee that the Director of National Intelligence was withholding a whistleblower complaint in violation of the statute. By that point, on September 9th, that complaint had made its way to the White House. On September 9th, when the Inspector General informed Congress that that complaint had been withheld, the White House also learned that Congress now inevitably would learn about the complaint. It was less than 48 hours later that the military aid would be released.
Republicans who defend Donald Trump are sickening, shameful, embarrassing, and unpatriotic. And then finally, the other thing that I think was notable and hilarious because of how much of a colossal self-own it was the moment when too dumb to know just how dumb he is, Jim Jordan was ranting and raving about the whistleblower being the guy who started it all and got immediately burned by Congressman Peter Welch from Vermont.
Now, there is one witness that they won't bring in front of us. They won't bring in front of the American people. And that's the guy who started it all, the whistleblower. Nope. 435 members of Congress. Only one gets to know who that person is. Only one member of Congress has a staff that gets to talk to that person. The rest of us don't. Only Chairman Schiff knows who the whistleblower is. We don't. We will never get the chance. We will never get the chance to see the whistleblower raise his right hand, swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. We'll never get that chance. More importantly, the American people won't get that chance. This anonymous so-called whistleblower with no firsthand knowledge, who's biased against the president, who worked with Joe Biden, who is the reason we're all sitting here today, will never get a chance to question that individual. Democrats are trying to impeach the president based on all that. 11 and a half months before an election, we'll not get to check out his credibility, his motivations, his bias. I said this last week, but this is a sad day. This is a sad day for this country. You think about what the Democrats have put our nation through for the last 3 years. Started July of 2016 when they spied on 2 American citizens associated with the presidential campaign, and all that unfolded with the Mueller investigation after that. And when that didn't work, here we are. Based on this. The American people see through all this. They understand the facts support the president. They understand this process is unfair. And they see through the whole darn sham. With that, I yield back.
Mr. Welch.
Thank you. I say to my colleague, I'd be glad to have the person who started it all come in and testify. President Trump is welcome to take a seat right there.
Good for you, Mr. Welch. Good for you. And to address the points of the too damn dumb to know just how dumb he is, Jim Jordan. 1, the whistleblower's identity is protected by law. They and all legal whistleblowers need to know and need to be offered guarantees of their safety and security when bringing to light corruption like this that is greatly in the public's interest. And number 2, the reason the testimony of the whistleblower is completely unnecessary is because almost every single thing that was contained in their report has been corroborated by not only the transcript summary of the call between Donald Trump and President Zelensky, but it has also been corroborated by the actual people named in the report through their public statements and through their testimony. So maybe, Jim Jordan, you might want to just sit this one out, champ. You're in way over your head. Listen, thank you for sticking around to the end of this with me. What I've just talked about, I think, is very critical for the success of our nation and our future. If you found some value in the research and the facts that I just laid out, I would earnestly invite you to support my work as an independent creator right here on YouTube by clicking that join button to become a channel member. You can pick your level of support, which starts at less than $2 a month, and take part in some of the rewards like stickers and community chats. But I think more importantly, you can know that you are helping in a very real way to support independent media just like this. If only 2% or so of my audience click that join button and join to become channel members, I would be completely untethered from concern about YouTube's policies, about demonetization, and all the other nonsense. Anyway, I really hope you'll consider it. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you.